Now here's a brand I haven't talked much about on this channel, in fact, if at all. I'm talking about the brand from Germany called Hugo Boss. Today we're comparing Hugo Boss Boss Bottled in this bottle with Hugo Boss Boss Bottled Oud in this bottle. All coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time landing on this channel and or you've been watching videos and still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell icon so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. And that's right, we have not spoken much about Boss or Hugo Boss on this channel. And it's a brand I used to wear a lot of fragrances dating back to the late 80s, early 90s with the original Boss fragrance, very classic, and I'm drawing a blank with the name right now, but it was the very first release they had and that I picked up late 80s, or I think it might have even been very early 90s. But I was wearing a lot of their fragrances throughout the 90s, and one of them in 1998 I fell head over heels for. It's Boss Bottled. So it was early 1998, probably maybe even like spring 1998, and I was dining in a restaurant here in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco, and next to a couple, I was with a friend and it was next to a couple, and I kept smelling a fragrance off of somebody, probably the woman that was closest to me because she was sitting closer to me, and of course the man across from her. So we had to finally ask because both my friend and I were very curious as to what they were wearing, or she was wearing. And then finally they answered it was Hugo Boss Boss Bottled. And we really couldn't find that fragrance that summer in San Francisco. So a friend actually went to Germany and picked up a bottle of Boss Bottled and brought it back. And I've been a fan since then, although it's been reformulated. It's not the way it originally smelled, but it's still very close. I mean, it has the closeness to what I remember it smelling. It was launched in 1998, and the perfumer behind this fragrance is Annick Menardo. Now, the fragrance is very fruity, spicy, woody, and ambery, and I really liked it because it had that green apple note in it. It had vanilla, cinnamon, lots of woody notes, some fruity notes of plum and things like that. Just a really great release, and I remember wearing 2 bottles of it. Not the 50 ml bottle like this, but a 100 ml bottle. So it was love at first sniff, and thanks to that woman, whoever she was, and she said she was visiting from Germany, I credit the fragrance to her. But finally the fragrance launched in San Francisco where I live, but I was wearing it before it made its initial launch. But I haven't spoken much about Hugo Boss on this channel. It's just because I don't have a lot of their fragrances, just this one. And of course I had to pick up this Oud one because everybody kept telling me all about it and how great it is. Boss Bottled was launched in 1998, and the Oud version, this, was launched in 2015. According to Fragrantica, it is a limited edition. So it's 3 years later, and I just picked up a bottle very inexpensively. It was around $60, I think, $50. It's a 100 ml bottle. I have seen these in airports, never in a store here in San Francisco. Perhaps it's at some department stores, I'm not sure, in the States. But I ordered it mail order, and it was around $50, somewhere around $50 to $60. But for this one, at the top we've got citruses and apple. So you've got the apple that they have in here. In the hard notes you've got saffron, you've got cloves, labdanum, cinnamon. In the base you've got the oud, sandalwood, and papyrus. I really love Boss Bottled, but I'm not really sure about Boss Bottled Oud. Something about the oud in here comes off moldy, wet. Now, I don't know what that is, and it kind of clashes with the apple. Once you get past that moldiness of the oud, the fragrance is fine. But I keep wanting this. I keep wanting this when I'm smelling this because it kind of sort of smells like this, but it's not really this. It's just this. It's in a dark bottle. It is very dark. The apple brightens up the darkness, but that moldy oud in here is just kind of slightly rubs me the wrong way. I mean, I'm not sure why, but just the kind of oud they're using in here is not my favorite. Also, here we have an eau de toilette in the Boss Bottled. In here is an eau de parfum, so EDP concentration. So I thought the longevity would be a lot better than this, where I get about 5 to 6 hours with this one, maybe pushing 6.5. I get about the same longevity with this one, maybe pushing 6.5, 7 hours, but I think it's around 5 to 6.5 hours with this one. So the performance also is not the greatest when you have something like an eau de toilette versus an eau de parfum. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to last longer, but I'm hoping, usually if I'm paying more money for a eau de parfum concentration, I'm assuming the performance is going to be similar. I mean, even though Boss has another oud, I think it's a rose and oud combo fragrance in their higher price collection, I think combining it with apples was kind of a mistake, at least to me. It just doesn't seem like it's working very well. And whereas you have some designer fragrances, I mean, I recently did a fragrance video called Top 5 Oud Fragrances from the designers that are on the budget scale of designer releases. And of course I had Versace's Oud on there, the Ralph Lauren Oud M7 from YSL, and John Varvatos Oud, and of course Gucci's Intense Oud. Now this would not have made the top 5 for me because I really love those, and if I had to pick a place where this would be if I had no other fragrances that are oud, I would put this at number 6. It wouldn't definitely go in the top 5. It's just that apple just doesn't really, like, almost doesn't really work. And the oud is not my favorite oud. It's just like I said, it smells moldy, wet, and damp. So imagine you're leaving a rag in the like, you know, like you go to a restaurant, sometimes it smells like a sour dish rag. Almost to that point, it just kind of smells weird like that. I mean, some people might like it. It's just, for me, it's not doing it like it does with the other oud fragrances from the designers. The other thing I was kind of hoping for, like, I was hoping for the cloves and the cinnamon to be a little more amped up, but on me, it's not much amped up. It's there, but the oud, the dampness and the moldiness of the oud is kind of covering up the cinnamon and cloves, and I kept wanting it because I think if we had the spiciness of the cinnamon and the cloves, I think what would have happened was kind of like killed away at the moldiness smell of the oud in here. So that's my take on this. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't really love it, and that's why I guess I didn't rush out to get it. And when I put out that top 5 oud fragrances from the designers video, I picked the 5 best that I knew of, that I've had in my collection and I've used. And this one, like I said, I did sample at some duty-frees once in a while here and there. At that time, it didn't wow me. That's why I kind of like decided to take the plunge and pick it up. More so blind than like, I mean, even though I've had a few experiences with it, it was mostly blind. Because of my love for the original Boss Bottled, I just thought, okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's compare these two, and let me give you my impressions of this fragrance so that you all know. Now, you might be a fan of this. You might be a fan of the type of oud is in here. You might be a fan of the combo of oud and apples. But for me, that's just not really working. Now, here's one more thing. Perhaps if the oud was not so moldy, they combined it with the apple still, perhaps it would have worked better for me, but just that oud is just, it's just kind of, I mean, it keeps getting better and better, and then more of the cinnamon and cloves pop through, but you have to sit through the first unpleasant part of that moldy, damp oud at the beginning, sour oud at the beginning. So just, I think, even though I love apples, I think what I'm having the most issue in this fragrance is with that oud. It's just not a very, very pleasant oud. It's not skanky, it's not animalic, it's okay, it just smells kind of moldy and damp. Almost like that wet dish rag, as I said. Are you a fan of Boss Bottled? Do you have it? Do you wear it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Perhaps you like Boss Bottled Oud more than Boss Bottled. Perhaps you have this and you've been enjoying wearing it, but you hated this all along. Let me know your thoughts. Plus, did you ever try Gucci Intense Oud? What are your thoughts in comparison to Boss Bottled? Or perhaps M7. Have you tried M7 compared to Boss Bottled Oud? Or maybe even the Ralph Lauren Polo Oud. Have you tried this one? Or I think it's called Supreme Oud. Then finally, we've got the Versace. Have you compared these two? And then last but not least, the John Varvatos and Boss Bottled. Where does it fit on the list of those fragrances with the Boss Bottled Oud? Let me know so we can get a conversation started. I'm gonna give this more of a try. I'm gonna keep wearing it and seeing if I'm gonna really like it, because at the price it's pretty decent. It's definitely under $100, and for Oud and designer and a little bit more Middle Eastern style of a release, I like that about it. But just getting past that dampness of the Oud with the apple, it's not working that well for me. So let me know. Also let me know if you only prefer the original Boss Bottled, so we can get a conversation started. If you want to pick up these fragrances, I'll have links in the info box. Also, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.